Or room for improvement. All of us, right? Is that what you mean?
Maybe some people.
Hi everyone, it's the Book Cougars, two middle-aged women on the hunt for a good read. I'm Emily.
And I'm Chris. And we're starting off with a little show and tell. I was recently in DC and finally got to visit the Library of Congress, which I had never visited. And man, it was even better in person than I imagined. You know, I've seen a lot of pictures, I've read books about the building, but it was just magnificent to be inside. And this is one of the books, this is the book that I purchased when I was there. It's American Libraries, 1730 to 1950 by Kenneth Breisch, with a foreword by Carla Hayden, who is the current Librarian of Congress. And on the back, it's Harold Washington Library in Chicago. But I picked this up because, you know, I like history, I like libraries, right? But what's cool about this one is it has, there's Yale.
Oh, look at that. We work at the Sterling Library a lot.
Yeah, that's the Sterling Library. The front door there, the entrance to Sterling, which is going to be having an anniversary in a few years. It's 100th anniversary.
Wow.
But what's cool is it has different chapters, and it's by private collections, academic libraries, the Library of Congress, of course, large urban libraries, small public libraries, and then the Carnegie era.
That's cool.
Yeah, because, you know, that's when there was such explosive growth, thanks to Mr. Carnegie, for his support of libraries. And that's an interesting thing, too. I did a little research on that, like, back when I lived in Illinois, and that's a topic for another day.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I mean, I love it when I end up in a town and you can see, you know, like that there's a little Carnegie Library. Mm-hmm. They often had it etched into the stone.
Yes, and he didn't like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he did not want his name on everything.
Can I ask a nosy question?
Yes.
What's the library on the cover? Do we know?
I have a feeling it's the one in Maryland, maybe. Let's see if it says. Well, it just says, dust jacket design by Chin Yi Lai.
Yeah, well, maybe as you're reading it, you'll figure it out. It's just, I love the cover. It's so compelling.
It is.
So, Library of Congress, one time my daughter went to visit a friend back in high school whose mother had moved to DC for just a year sabbatical. And they went to the Library of Congress, and I'll never forget her phone call saying, "Mom, I just got a card from the Library of Congress." And she just cherished that card, even though, you know, she never really used it, but she had it.
Well, you know, in this day and age, she might use it more with the ebooks, you know?
But back then, it was just the fact that she had one with her name on it that was thrilling to her. So we also have some unpacking we're going to do, but we're going to do that last, I think, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
We both have little surprises to unpack. But first, should we talk about our Friday reads?
Yeah, please.
So I'm reading The Frozen River by Ariel Lawhon. I always want to say Lawhorn, but it's Lawhon, I guess I'm pronouncing it right. And this is a book that I've heard about from our librarian, Linda, who keeps up our bookshelf on Goodreads. She actually emailed to say to us, you have to get your hands on a copy of that book. And I've been trying to get it from the library, and it's really popular right now, so I haven't been successful. I tried to get an e-copy. There's like a 1,000,000-week wait. And the other day my partner was on a bike ride, and he biked by a little free library and sent me a picture, as he does when he comes across them. And I quickly, you know, I had to look at what the books were, and I saw this. And I said, I want that book. Where's the library? And he said, don't worry, I'll just grab it and bring it home, which isn't easy to do on a bike.
Yeah, and he's like a cyclist, so he is, you know, it's not like he has baskets and, you know, he is like, what do you call it? Like aerodynamic. He's that kind of cyclist.
Yeah, his bike is one of those you can lift with like a finger, and he wears very tight clothing. But he was able to, well, I won't tell you how he got it home, but he did get it home. I dipped right into it. It is such a page turner. I've been having to use it all week as bribery, you know, like, okay, if you get this client's taxes off to the accountant, you can sit down and read a chapter. I mean, really, it's that bad. So, the book's not bad. My desire to be reading and not working is bad. So
especially during tax season.
Exactly. Oh my gracious. So she is known for her research, her historical fiction. I did get the opportunity to see her years ago, like a dozen years ago, at the Booktopia in Asheville, North Carolina. I'll never forget her sitting in Malaprops, which is a great indie bookstore down there. And it was her debut novel at the time. It was, I think it's called The Maid, The Mistress. Let me look that up real quick. Winter Dry Hands. I can't turn pages. The Wife, The Maid, and The Mistress.
Look at that. She has a nice list, growing list there.
And now, she's put out a lot of books, like every couple of years, I think.
Nice.
So this one is taking place in the 1700s. It goes back and forth into two different time periods, the mid-1700s to the late 1700s. This frozen river is the Kennebunk River in Maine, and the main protagonist is a midwife. And there has been a murder right at the beginning of the book, or a drowning. We're not sure if the person drowned in the Kennebunk or was murdered. And the town is kind of reeling. It's a small town, and they're reeling because there's been a woman who has accused a man of rape. And actually a couple men, and one of the men is the man that's found frozen in the river. This midwife character, I just love her so much.
I'm sorry, I was thinking happy HEA, right?
Yeah.
Anyway,
that the person that
the rapist drowned,
right?
But
right.
Yes.
Yeah. But as happens often with rape accusations, the woman is being dragged over the coals a little bit, you know. Mm-hmm. But that is obviously like one of the main points of the story, but the midwife and her husband, Ephraim, and their marriage and their children and the townspeople are also quite a big part of the story. And I really love their relationship. And he taught her how to read after they got married. She didn't know how to read. And so she keeps a journal about all of her taking care of people in the town and things like that. And Chris, I wanted to just read this part of how she keeps a journal is because her husband brought her ink.
Oh, nice.
So it says, I break off a piece of ink cake and mix it with water in a small silver dish, the bottom of which is stamped with an image of a man astride a horse. Below it are engraved the words, Paul Revere Silver, Boston. And another gift from Ephraim, who's her husband. Another bit of extravagance, though this one rather personal. My husband and Mr. Revere formed a friendship of sorts during the Revolution, and the silversmith has never forgotten him as a result. So then she dips her quill in the ink, and the passages that are her writing in her journal are italicized.
Nice.
I'm just really enjoying this novel so much. I highly recommend it.
Very cool. And it's in that tradition of women running in red jackets in the winter. There are a lot of covers featuring that.
Yeah.
It pops though, you know?
Yeah, it does. It gets your attention. Mm-hmm. So, and she's a great writer. At the end, there is an author's note because it's based on historical facts. But she says at the beginning of the author's note, like, red light, don't read this until after you read the novel because there's tons of spoilers, I guess.
Thank you for doing that. I appreciate that. Yeah.
I've definitely read author's notes, you know, because I am someone who skips back to the acknowledgments at the beginning, and I've definitely read an author note or two that I regretted doing first.
I know, it's really hard.
Yeah.
It's hard to know when to do it or not. Yeah. I'm currently reading We Got the Beat by Jenna Miller. Here's the cover. It is a YA sapphic romance. This is her second novel. Her first was
Out of Character.
It was in my mind. I was thinking Out of the Classroom. I was like, that's not right. Out of Character. So this one is about a young woman who's a junior in high school. It's the beginning of junior year. And JoJo's her name, Jordan. And she writes for the school newspaper, and she's super excited because she anticipates getting an editor position this year. And her two BFFs are also planning on that, getting an editor role. So they both do get editor roles, but she does not.
Oh.
She gets assigned to cover the volleyball team, on which her nemesis is a star player who is made captain as a junior. which is really something,
Yeah.
you know. So she's the varsity captain as a junior, which means as the captain, she has a spotlight in the paper at some time during the semester, which JoJo will have to write. So they were really good friends. Mackenzie is the nemesis's name. She had moved to town before their freshman year, and they got really close really quickly. And then school started freshman year, and Mackenzie just blows off JoJo and basically says that she was her freshman stalker. And so lots of bad blood. So it's kind of really fun because you get the newspaper aspect, and then you get the sports aspect. So I like that kind of mashup. It's a lot of fun. JoJo's fat, so it is a fat positive book. It's a queer positive book. Really good so far.
So that's like the friends to enemies romance type, right?
Well, it's friends to enemies to lovers.
Lovers,
yeah,
right? Yeah. I'm sorry, I think I said it wrong. Enemies to lovers or something. Yeah, I'm still learning these.
Well, there is
languages.
friends to lovers.
Okay.
And then there's enemies to lovers.
Okay.
Which I just think heightens the tension from just being friends. Like, you know, you've been hanging out with somebody at work for 10 years, and then all of a sudden you're like,
right.
He looks yummy.
Right. I never noticed that behind before.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
And then I also like the whole, one of the things we've been talking about as we learn about romance is that, like, there's coincidences that sometimes people have issues with, but on the other hand, there have to be things that bring these people together, or there's no, shall I say, coupling. I don't know what the right word is. So I think that's part of, like, the coincidence that she didn't make editor and then gets assigned to the volleyball team. But that's how these stories work.
Right. Well, and she gets assigned to the volleyball team because she wants to go to Columbia for college as a journalism major.
Oh.
And the newspaper faculty advisor says, if you want to go to Columbia for journalism, you need to be writing stories, not editing other people's stories.
Oh, interesting.
Which I thought was a great point.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But in high school, you're just like, damn it, I want the top spot.
Yeah.
You know? Not even in high school, in life in general. Not realizing that maybe this other role is actually what you need for what you want.
Right. And the person in charge of the school newspaper, you know, the advisor understands, like, I'm actually doing the best thing for this person, even though it probably felt like their life was over when that happened.
Exactly. And I really like Jenna. She has such a fine sensitivity for feelings and situations, you know, like with that advisor, when JoJo goes back to the advisor and says, you know, I just can't do this. You know, Mackenzie's my nemesis. And the advisor says, like, the first question I think that they ask is, are you feeling unsafe?
Oh, interesting.
And I just thought that is really awesome.
Yeah.
And you know, back in the day, I think advisors would say, well, you got to suck it up.
Yeah.
That's your job, you know,
Yeah.
as opposed to asking questions about the situation.
Right. And how you feel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Imagine that. It's lovely.
Isn't it? Yeah. So I'm really enjoying it. I'm bummed that we didn't get to see her.
Yeah.
We had great plans this last Wednesday to go up and spend a day in Maine.
In Massachusetts.
Yeah.
At the Unlikely Bookstore, which is a beautiful store that Jeffrey Kinney, who's the author of the Diary of a Wimpy Kid series, took this old building and renovated it and just made a beautiful bookstore. We'll get there again.
We will. Yeah, we were there for a wonderful event. Michael Finkel back several years ago. More than a while ago, yeah. All right, so
we have some unwrapping to do. This one is wrapped very well. This is from Aunt Ellen, who's currently living in California. And on Thursdays, she works at the Friends of the Library Berkeley bookstore, Berkeley, California. And we often get little texts from her on Thursday saying, are you interested? And I recently got one of those. Of course, I can't remember what the book was, so it's going to be a fun surprise. I got a little love note. Enjoy. Do you have people in your life that when you see their handwriting, like, it takes you right back to childhood?
Totally.
I remember her sending me birthday cards with that handwriting when I was a kid. Let's see what it is. Oh, I love how she waterproofed it too.
Nice. So important.
Very nice. Yeah. Oh, what a great cover.
Oh, nice.
The Book Lover's Cookbook. How
Perfect.
fun. Oh, I can see on the back, so they have recipes from books, I guess, like Innocent Sweetbread from the Bluest Eye by Toni Morrison.
Nice.
Queen Nacha's Tamales from Like Water for Chocolate by Laura Esquivel. I love
There's
that
even
book.
Ichabod's Slapjacks from The Legend of Sleepy Hollow by Washington Irving. That goes back.
Wow, very cool.
That's really cool.
I do remember her sending this to me now. Wow, it's pretty. The table of contents is very detailed. Look at that.
Oh, wow. Oh, there's even a privileged chart from Jane Eyre.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Charlotte Bronte. Wow.
You might be living in that cookbook
I
for a while.
know. Nearly 200 recipes that were prepared, served, or mentioned in novels
Nice.
and works of nonfiction. And then it says sprinkled throughout with marvelous anecdotes about writers and writing. It's a culinary and literary delight and a true inspiration in the kitchen. Right on.
That's exciting.
I love the cover. I'm not sure if that comes from a novel. No idea. But thank you, Aunt Ellen. More to come on this. I'll report back.
Nice. Well, mine came to Book Cougars headquarters, and Emily already opened it, but it's one I requested. When publishers send books, usually that you've requested, they'll let you know because they want to make sure that it doesn't get lost in the pile of books that often get sent. And this is, Joyce Carol Oates, Letters to a Biographer. Very cool. I kind of forgot about it.
Ooh, it has a nice big print. I love that.
Oh, yeah.
That matters more and more these days.
Yeah. There we go. Nice
Oh, it just
print.
came out on March 5th.
March 5th.
From Akashic Books.
Yeah.
Thank you for sending it to us.
Oh, this is another thing too. They'll mark a book, so you can't go and try and sell it, resell it, return it, whatever. Which I think is a wise thing to do.
Yeah.
So I haven't read a ton of Joyce Carol Oates, and Letters to a Biographer. This caught my eye. I heard a biographer talking about it because I think there was an essay by her about this book, and a lot of writers have been leery of biographies being written about them, and I don't remember the exact point of the biographer talking about her piece, but she was saying something like, the biographer was saying something to the effect of like, you as a human being sometimes don't know all aspects of yourself.
Oh, interesting.
That the people around you and putting all of those people's ideas about you together make you a full human subject for a biography, put it that way. Because it's kind of true. Like, there are aspects about myself that, when people say something, I'm like, really?
Oh, yeah. We see ourselves much different than
Yeah.
other people see us.
Yeah, for good and bad.
Exactly. Yeah.
Or good and bad. I don't mean to make it a binary like that. But, we're all on a continuum, and then we do have areas that we're just completely unaware of with ourselves.
Right. Or room for improvement. All of us, right? Is that what you mean?
Maybe some people. Anyway. All of us, yes, indeed. So just being silly. But
do you want me to read the blurb by Amy Tan?
Sure.
It says, Oates' letters are clearly among the best of the epistolary canon, providing rare insight and surprising revelations that enable us to better understand what underlies her great body of work. Amy Tan.
Interesting.
I like Amy Tan.
And so another thing, this is all, it's to her biographer, what is his name? Greg Johnson. And I just think it's fascinating because, throughout, well, I don't know if it's fascinating, but what I've read about the book is fascinating, that she also obviously talks about her writing process. And I'm so curious about that because she is so prolific.
Unbelievable.
And,
prolific.
Obviously some of her books are more well received than others by both readers and critics. But, she's amazing.
I'd love to read something by her. I got to see her speak at the Charleston Literary Festival.
Right, yeah.
So compelling. And I know one thing she said that she does part of when she writes is when she runs. She's a big runner, and so she's kind of stuck on a storyline or something. She'll go out for a run and figure it out. This is kind of cool. There are events featuring her that they put here.
Cool.
So you can look those up if they're near where you live. And some of them, the one at the top and the bottom say virtual. So
very good. Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, this is an info sheet that the publishers also put in a book. Yeah. And having the events is not something you always get.
Yeah.
Yeah. But thank you so much to Akashic Books for sending a copy of this.
And thank you to Aunt Ellen for sending a book that both of us are likely to benefit from.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, here's hoping.
Yeah.
What are you reading this weekend? We'd love to hear.
Please do tell us.
Happy
reading. Woo!